Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a former Boeing 737 pilot, and welcome to another flight featuring the iFly Boeing 737 MAX. Today we are going to do a night flight from Austin, Texas over to Houston, which is about 30 minutes, and we are going to explore all the options of the lighting in the aircraft on the flight, as well as just enjoy the beautiful landscape that we see at nighttime in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So let's go ahead and board our 737 MAX, and we are going to make our way towards Houston. Now the aircraft has just been powered up by engineering and we're about to take it over, so let's go ahead and before we sit down we are going to run the safety rainbow, as we did love to call it in the days on the 737. So, engine fire tests, and that stuff is looking good. We can test the bottles, can test the cargo fire extinguisher, then make sure that that transponder is off down there. Moving up to the overhead panel, flight recorder test. So, normal and back to auto, please. Here we go. Alright, and last but not least, a quick look at the circuit breakers, making sure that nothing is popped over here. They are not simulated, by the way, but not too much of a problem here. We would probably not use them during any normal ops anyway. Okay, so then let's go ahead and take a seat. So, engineering has just used the dome light over here. I'm going to turn on the panel lights as well, though. As well as the circuit breaker lights, and then down here the background lights, and also the main panel lights, like this. Alright, so this is a typical ground setup we would use for the lights. Now, you can see the panel background light is rather distinctive over here, and the dome light does quite a good job as well. Now, if we turned that to the dim position, however, things would get quite a bit darker already, but we are going to explore a little bit more of that when there is no outside lights from the airport that are coming into our way over here. Now, all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and continue our setup of the aircraft. So, first things first. Oxygen check is completed. Let's make sure that all those lights function as they should, which they do. Wonderful. And if we're on it already, let's do this one, and the same on the other end side as well. We want traffic, airport, and terrain, and we don't only want that on our side, but also on the FO side. And this setup ensures that there is no weather radar on that could accidentally cause any troubles. Okay, so 6,000 pounds of fuel on board at the moment. We need, I believe, 9 or 10,000 pounds for this one. Unfortunately, I still can't show you the operational flight plan inside the aircraft, but that shall not be too much of a problem. Remember, this is a beta version that I'm using to record this, so overall there will be changes done until the final release version. So for our takeoff fuel we need 9,000 pounds, so let's go ahead and go to the systems down here, sim menu, refueling. We need 9,000, so that means 4,500 per side, so 4.5 and 4.5. Then we can turn those valves on, and that should initialize our refueling process. So, fueling is ongoing now. Let's go ahead and start our aircraft setup. So, for our FMC, we're sitting in a 737-8 with a 27K engine. We have a current nav database installed, as Navigraph now has them available. And then we can go to the position in it, and we are gonna take the GPS left position in here. And for our route, we're going from Kilo Alpha Uniform Sierra over to Kilo India Alpha Hotel. Our call sign today is going to be United 1326, which is a real-life service operated on the Boeing 737s, from time to time also the MAX. Our departure is going to be off runway 36 right, and we are going to follow the Elexi for departure towards Zenzi. And then for our arrival, let's go ahead and select that ILS runway 08 right, and we're coming in via the Toro 3 arrival over here from Elexi. Okay, so let's go ahead and activate that and have a quick look at what we have just created. So onto the plan mode in here, which, if I'm not totally mistaken, this should work before the IRS alignment is complete. But okay, not a problem. Let's just quickly check it over here then. So we're coming in from Elexi. That means anything after Elexi will be part of the star. Let's go ahead and insert that, execute. And then we can go on with our performance data. Cost index today, 30. The reserve fuel is going to be 5.1. Estimated zero fuel weight, 133.1. Remember, this is pounds, since we are flying a United States-based aircraft. Cruising in 21,000 feet, cruise wind 037 at 8. And the top of climb outside temperature is minus 16 degrees Celsius. Transition altitude 18,000 looks good. And then let's go over to the takeoff page. Down here we are going to fly noise abatement procedure number 1 today. So the acceleration is going to be in 1000 AGL. We can leave the rest unchanged. For the VNAV page, 250 below 10,000 is looking good. And last but not least, on the fix page, we can draw a 25-mile ring around our departure airport over here. So /25. And last but not least, let's go ahead and draw the engine outset. So that's runway track 355, and we're going to go straight ahead for 25 miles like that. Create the discontinuity like that. Execute. Holding. New holding. Cow 01, 355. Inbound right-hand turns. That is all looking good. Alright. And then we need our MSA, which is 3,100, so we are going to climb to 4,000 feet or higher for this. Alright, beautiful. And that's basically everything we need to do up here. Okay, FMS setup is finished. Let's go ahead and do the rest of our panel. Yaw damper on, nav transfer display switches, normal auto, fuel pumps on, thrust feed. Check that. We no longer need to test the light after this in the MAX. Remember, in the NG you need to test the light afterwards, but in the MAX Boeing learned and attached the light to a different circuit breaker, so this is no longer necessary. Alright, refueling is complete, so the seatbelts can come on. Window heat's coming on, hydraulics coming on. Pax auto. Cruising altitude is flight level 210, like this. And our landing altitude is going to be hard to find, 100 feet. Okay, logo light on, position lights on, wheel well lights on. Engine igniter to the right, and then we go down to our MCP. So we actually need inches over here, not hectopascals. And flight directors are coming on. Initial climb will be by air traffic control. I'm just going to set something like 5,000 for now, and then we'll see. Runway heading 355 is looking good, and we can already tune the same on the courses as well. Like so. Right, moving down then, we need inches over here as well. Reset the fuel flow, auto brakes RTO, make sure the self-test works. Let's have a quick look at the system display, making sure we have sufficient hydraulic quantity, we have sufficient engine oil quantity, the fuel is okay now as well. Alright, down to the pedestal, 122.8 is going to go into our COM1, COM2, 1 to 1.5. Alright, and we basically don't need anything on our on our nav radios. So transponder standby 2000 above, and that is looking good. Let's tune the data frequency on radio number 3, and that's basically it for our setup. Alright, beautiful. So our setup is completed, and now we also have the plan mode available, so let's quickly go ahead and check this out. Yep, that looks pretty much like what I'm expecting to fly. Alright, beautiful. Okay, so this would be the moment where I would go ahead and collect the latest weather. Unfortunately, we can't do that inside this aircraft just yet, but I do hope that it's going to be added soon. But remember, again, this is the beta version that I'm using to record this. So I'm just going to use SimBrief off screen here to get the latest conditions, and the current QNH is 29998. So here we go, 2998 and 2998, and that is cross-checked on the other side as well. Alright, beautiful. Well, then I suppose we are going to go ahead with our departure briefing. So threats for the departure, to be honest, I do not see anything. Then, route check. So we're going from Kilo Alpha Uniform Sierra to Kilo India Alpha Hotel, Uniform Alpha Lima 1326. And the routing is towards Ilaxi and then onto the Toro arrival. Ilaxi transition, ground distance 129, 6.3 tons, 6,300 pounds of fuel versus 5,100, so we have about, yeah, make that 10 minutes of extra. Alright, time UTC 0745, altimeter 2998, reading 520, and that's set on the standbys as well. Flight directors on minus master. It's going to be a left seat takeoff of 36 right, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure 2, and in case of emergencies we go on the runway track 25 miles, climbing 4,000, the MSA is 3,100. Emergencies as briefed in the crew room on the way to the aircraft, and for our taxi it's going to be a pushback into the alley over here, and then taxi out straight forward and eventually to the right of runway 36 right for the departure. Our sit is the Ilaxi for RNAV departure, that's on the runway heading. Expect radar vectors, and eventually we'll have to fly towards Hook, cross that above 5,000, then towards Ilaxi, and from there we are already going to join the arrival. Okay, so top altitude assigned by ATC. And that's our briefing completed. Any questions? No? Wonderful. Alright, then I suppose we are going to go into the safety inspection checklist, and before start checklist down to the line. Services and shocks, checked. Maintenance status, checked. Battery on, electric, hydraulic pumps on, landing gear lever down, ship's library checked. Safety inspection checklist complete. Before start checklist to the line, RS mode select as nav, gear pins and covers. So we got 1, 2, 3 removed, light test checked, oxygen test 100%, yaw damper on, nav transfer and display switches, normal auto, fuel 9,000 required, 9,000 on board, and 4 pumps on. Cabin utility IFE galley power on, emergency exit lights on, fast modes on, window heat on, aircon and press, PAX auto, bleeds on, set, personalization mode selector, auto, instruments cross-checked, auto brake, RTO, hydraulics, normal, speed brake. Down detent, parking brake set, step trim cutout switch is normal. Wheel well fire warning checked, radius, radar and transponder, set and standby, rudder and aileron trims, 3 and 0, takeoff briefing discussed, holding at the PA. Okay, so far so good. Let's go ahead and do our performance, please. So we have a total of 178 guests on board today, which is full house. And then we are looking at a zero fuel weight of 133, so that means we are full already. Interesting. Well, let's take 1,000 pounds in the front hold anyway. So we are about 2,000 pounds heavier than originally planned. That's an extra fuel usage of some 40 pounds, so we can disregard that. Alright, for the fuel, we've got a total fuel of 9,000 on board. Our taxi out is going to be 315, and the planned trip fuel 3025. Alright, which gives us a zero fuel weight 135.1 and a takeoff weight of 143.8. Let's go into the FMS. So 1372. Now that's not accurate. Set payload. Done. Let's try that again. 1353. Yeah, that's better. Close enough. And 144.1, which matches. Alright, wonderful. Then, complete the performance, please. You can import the FMC data. And this is pretty much correct, isn't it? Yeah. Wind calm 19 centigrade, which is 66 Fahrenheit. And 29088 looks good. Right, takeoff 2 rating, flaps 5, air conditioning on, anti-ice off, calculate. So takeoff 2 at 32 degrees assumed. Takeoff 2, 32 degrees, 80.6 versus 80.6, excellent. Then takeoff, flaps 5, CG 22.3, giving us 6.35 units trim. Here we go. And that is takeoff speeds 140, 140, 145. Which we have in here as well. Beautiful. And set. Okay, wonderful. So then let's say hello to our passengers. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening from flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel. In the name of United, I'd like to welcome you on board flight 1328 towards Houston. Flight time today, 30 minutes, and we do expect a smooth ride over Texas this morning. We'd like to thank you very much for being our guests today. Sit back, relax, enjoy the flight with us. If there is anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please don't hesitate to ask any of our charming cabin crew members. Cabin crew, all doors in flight. Okay, beautiful. So let's go ahead and get GSX to prepare for pushback and departure, please. The APU is starting at the moment. Okay, they have closed the door. Make sure that the slides are on, please. And the gird bar is in, perfect. On one side and also on the other side. Excellent. Okay then, closing up, it's going to be a short taxi today. So, ground's powered. Disconnect the power, disconnect the fueling, and the parking brake is set. You can also remove the chocks, please. Beautiful. Okay. Well, let's complete the before start checklist, please. PA complete, FMC CDU set, N1 and IS box. Auto. So, takeoff 2, 80.6%, takeoff speeds 140, 140, 145, set and checked. Okay, step trim 6.4 units set, performance weight and balance sign sent, phones off, EFB, airplane mode stowed, flight windows and cockpit door locked, doors are closed and the passengers seated. Before start checklist complete. Ground from flight deck, go ahead. So please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment removed and the bypass pin is installed. That's all confirmed, Captain. Roger, stand by. Okay, before start checklist below the line. Aircon packs off, anti-collision light on, parking brake set, transponder alt off, before start checklist complete. Okay, ground flight, go. So we clear the push, parking brake set. Okay, release parking brake. Parking brake released. Roger, stand by for engine start. Alright, and off we go. So, engine start on the max does take a little longer. For that reason I am going to initiate it as soon as we're past the roads. Okay, starting engine 2. Clear 2. N2. The sequence here is not entirely correct. You should get oil pressure much earlier and one much later. Hopefully that is something they are going to solve with either an update or, in the best case, prior to release. So, oil pressure, N1. So, you will see the engine valve closed light flicker a little bit. That is because the EEC is conducting a self-test there. I do recall it flickered even more in the real world, but it's been a little while since I've flown the Max, I have to admit that much. Okay, pushback complete, set park and brake. Park and brake set, and we're starting engine 1. Clear 1. Okay, isolated pack operation. N2. N1. Very nice reflections from the beacon here, especially underneath the wings. That's looking very good. On the other hand side, no comment on the GSX guy running inside there. Okay, motoring is complete. Alright, while those engines are running up, let's just dim the displays a little bit here. Because when we turn the lights off in a few moments, those displays would be pretty bright. The middle position is normally very good. Here we go. Alright, the clear signal is seen, and we have 2 good starts. Clear to disconnect, show me the sign on the left. Have a good day. Alright. So, flight control track. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Okay, after start checklist. Generators on, APU off, start switches continuous, probe heat on, anti-ice off, air conditioning, pack auto bleeds on, isolation valve, auto, flaps, 5 required. 5 selected, and green light. Step trim, 6.3 units required and set. Start levers idle detent, flight controls checked, recall checked, B4 taxi checklist complete. Okay then, clear on the left side, clear on the right side, brake released. Let's dim that floodlight a little here. Yeah, that is all we need, really. Okay, off we go. Again, the plane should have taxied on its own without any thrust requirement. This one needs a little bit of breakaway thrust. Suppose I'm just going to accept that for the time being, but rest assured, I will, or did, depending on when the video comes out, report that to iFly. Okay, so we are going to taxi around the apron over here. A little bit bright background here, let's turn that down a bit. And if we're on it already, we'll put the lights to dim as well. That is what it should look like. The MCP might be a little bit bright here, but we have no way to dim that manually. The MCP is dimmed automatically through the light sensor located on it, so that is something that the developers need to do. Still needs a little bit to get used to how the aircraft taxis. You can see I'm still going a little bit twitchy left and right. Okay, off to the left over here, and then we'll taxi over to the right and set course towards runway 36 right. I have to take a quick look at what the guy in front of us is doing. That's southwest, but he seems to be turning into the gate now. Perfect. So we'll take the first to the right onto Golf 3 and then via hotel. So clear on the right side. A little bit hard to see everything there. The Max is equipped with LED lights, which should have probably a little bit more range. The LEDs are really, really bright. Okay, second to the left, on to hotel, and then from there on to Bravo and all the way to the runway. Okay, so straight ahead now, and then we take the first taxiway to the right, but don't accidentally drive towards the tower, please, which should be somewhere over here, so... At least I do believe it is. There is something here. You can see that hangar. There is a small taxiway going there. We don't want to take that. Something I do like about the Max is, since we have the LED light options, we don't actually have the turn-off lights located on the nose wheel, but they are located in the main landing lights. And for this reason you see the main landing lights illuminated there, and you see the forward part of the fuselage illuminated as well. Alright, next to the right, make sure we don't run into the southwest, but he's turning on to Golf, so nothing to worry for us. Okay, off to the right. And then taxiing to the full length. Okay, config check. Looking good. And then we can do the before takeoff checklist down to the line, please. Config, check. Flaps 5.5, green light. Step trim 6.3, set. Takeoff briefing. It's left seat takeoff, runway 36 right. Flaps 5, noise abatement procedure number 2. Takeoff speeds 140, 140, 145. Pax auto bleeds on, and the anti-ice is off. The SID is on the runway heading, and I'm going a little fast here, I do admit that. The SID is on the runway heading, going towards a radar vector, and climbing initially 5,000 feet, thereafter flight level 210 or whatever. In case of emergencies, climb on the runway track 4,000, MSA 3,100. Any questions? No? Beautiful. Holding at the cabin. Cabin secured, before takeoff checklist complete. Since somebody asked on one of my last videos on how we use the no smoking sign here, we basically use the off position when the cabin is not secured, so when passengers are walking around, etc. Then we use the auto position to indicate to us that the passengers are sitting but the cabin crew is still moving. And last but not least, we are using the on position as a reminder that the cabin is actually secured for takeoff. So that's how we used them in my former airline. Things might of course be different in others. And since someone asked as well whether it is not a problem that the seatbelt signs would turn on and off, or the no smoking signs would go on and off with that. They actually don't. There is a setting in the maintenance panels and in the options of the 737 that you can actually always have the sign on, irrespective of the switch location. Okay, I have no clue what that guy is doing up there. Suppose we're gonna have a look. 4 miles final, doing strange things. Well. Three miles out right now, that's no problem, we can still depart with that. It's gonna be tight, but the US is known for that, so not a problem. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. Auto throttle, VNAV, strobe lights, landing lights. Before takeoff checklist below the line, MCP, set, transponder, Tara, strobe lights on, landing lights on. Before takeoff checklist complete. Okay, are you ready? Take off. So that's your toga click spot right up there. Pretty useful. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. 80 knots, checked. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Heading select. That was a very good rotation rate there. But the plane needs too little elevator to rotate. You should need quite a bit more elevator. Okay, flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. And flaps up. Speed checked. Flaps up. Okay, turn right, heading 090. And climb, I don't know, give me level 210 straight away. So, set 210 checked. And actually correct that to heading 070. Okay, after takeoff checklist. Air cannon press. 1.4, climbing. Set. Altimeters to go. After takeoff checklists. Yeah, let's call it completed. Right then, direct to hook. Interesting, the execute light did not illuminate down there. Should have. Okay, LNAV available. LNAV. It's a really enjoyable aircraft to fly manually. The real one just like the simulated one. That's why you see me doing it so much. The 737, both the NG and the MAX, are really a joy to fly manually. In my opinion, the aileron in the MAX is a little bit more effective than it is in the NG, but I'm not really sure. That might be a feeling, it might be due to slightly different force required on the control column, but yeah, that's my experience on the plane. Nonetheless, it took me maybe 20 seconds to adapt to that on my first takeoff, but I didn't really feel it in the simulator when I did the simulator session to get rated on the max. So, target climb speed 283, that is okay. I will just hand flight until we've accelerated towards those 283, and then I'm going to turn on the autopilot. Altimeters, passing 10,300, climbing 210, 10 checks when able. Okay, I will delay the 10 checks slightly until we are established on the speed. Already figured the flight director is a little bit, it should be a little bit, let's call it more proactive in the acceleration segment here. Something like 5 degrees pitch normally works pretty well. But what the flight director is commanding there is just too much. The airplane doesn't really accelerate properly with that. Hopefully they are gonna fix that for the release. Okay. So, here we go. Command A, checked, and then 10 checks please. So the fuel is balanced with 4 pumps on, lights off, APU off, air conditioning and pressurization 5.0, climbing set, fast mode's on, but let's release our cabin crew. Recall, checked, monitoring 1 to 1.5, 10 checks completed. Okay, so a small few things up here while we are climbing. First of all, let's go ahead and cancel the climb derate since we are cleared above 15,000. That should add a little bit power to the climb. And then a couple of small things over here as we are flying out. So, in general, the real 737 MAX is a real joy to fly. And I have to say that the iFly is as well. The flight model seems quite good. Few things there, especially the rotation. At the moment the rotation is you just pull back a tiny bit and the nose comes up. That's not how it works on the real 737. On the real one, you start pulling back. At one point you really feel, okay, now the nose starts coming up. Then you hold it there, let it rotate. And when you reach about the 7.5 degree mark, you have to pull a little bit more because the elevator enters the dead band. You can feel that in the PMDG 737 if you make a careful rotation. But in the iFly, that's as of now not implemented just yet. Apart from that though, manual flight feels really good and I'm really enjoying it. As mentioned, in the real plane, took me maybe 20 seconds to get adapted to the slightly different feeling of the MAX compared to the NG, so that's fairly easy going. So as far as I'm aware, the weather radar is currently not implemented, but well, today is clear skies, so we're probably not gonna see anything anyway. So let's just keep it on the terrain. Set standard. Standard cross-check, passing flight level 182. Now. Checked. Okay, so let's play a little bit with the lights, as I've promised. Now, this is what I would call a normal lighting setup for the flight. So, as you can see, just the backlights and just the backlights of the panel. Probably even circuit breaker lights off. So something like that. Now, I do like to have the floodlight up just a little bit as well, because that way you can see what you're reaching for down here without having to worry too much about any of the, you know, without any worrying about hitting any of those other switches. Now, let's go vertical speed over here, 1000. Now something that is worth mentioning here is the dome lights. When flying short haul or medium haul on the 737, we basically left them off most of the time. However, in long hauls, we do typically turn them on because it helps you to stay awake a bit. Now, in the simulator, I do like to use a little bit of light so that you're able to see anything around you. By the way, let's release our guests here. So something like that. But in the real world, the dim position is barely used at all because I do believe in the sim it is too bright. In the real world, you just barely see something with the dim position. The bright position on the other hand side is pretty good, so that really lights up the flight deck very nicely. And on the long hauls, we do like to use that. Back in the day on the short hauls, we didn't really want to use it when it was avoidable. Okay, so that much about the correct usage of the lights. Apart from that, you do have the AFDS floodlight down here. Let me go ahead and demonstrate that with a dome light off. So that one can be rather useful as well. You know, just turn it up a tiny bit so that you can see the background of the autopilot and flight director panel of the MCP. That was rather useful. Okay then, we're about to reach our top of descent already. Let's go ahead and start programming a bit. We'll take the winds from level 200 and the winds from level 100 in here. And those are going to be 044 at 9. Why is that invalid? 44 at 9. That should work. Do they need 044 at 9? If yes, that's a bug. Yeah, it is a bug. You don't need the leading 0 on the U14 FMS. That's only on the very old FMSs, but on the new ones, you don't need them. What? Okay then, here we go. Transition level 180 is correct. Let's take a quick look over our arrival procedure. So we got the Toro 3 arrival that ends at Toro, and from there it's going to be radar vectors. The approach will be the ILS approach runway 08 right. That's the one that they are currently using in the real world. And that's a fairly straightforward procedure. So frequencies 110.7. Sorry, 109.7. And then for our missed approach we need the Daseta VOR 16.9. So let's go ahead and tune that in here as well. Okay, minimum's 295. Pretty hard to dial that in properly. Okay, reaching the top of descent, let's go ahead and dial that altitude down. VNAV. Let's do something like 15,000, that should be good. Okay, 295 the minimum. So, looking over our star itself, those restrictions are all looking good, nothing to worry about. Sooner, 250 knots between 10,000 and 13,000, Toro to 10 knots, 8,000. Looks good, and then we are joining the approach out of Elpo in 3,000, 3-degree glide from Malton onwards. So Malton 2,000, 3 degrees is looking good. And for the missed approach, we climb straight ahead on heading 087, and then on radial 242 inbound Delta Alpha Sierra VOR, which is 062 on the opposite, so that is looking good. Alright, let's remove the engine out routing here, and that's it. Perfect. So landing 08 right, we gotta vacate the runway after like 2,000 and a bit meters, so that equals auto brakes 2. But we are going to run the calculation in a few moments. Okay, show landing, show en route, copy FMC data. Condition is dry. So, Houston weather, wind 020 at 5. Temperature 22. And Q&A, no, not Fahrenheit. Well, that's 64 Fahrenheit then. What is that? Okay, 22 Celsius. If that works, it works. Okay, and the altimeter 29.93. Reversers off, flaps 30, air conditioning on, anti-ice off, brakes 2, and we have no non-normals. Okay, set QNH. QNH 2993, cross-check, passing 17,100. Now, checked. Okay. So, let's see, landing weight, we're gonna burn 400 pounds, so we're looking at 141.3. Okay, calculate. Distance required 7,000 feet, the runway is 9,400 long, we want to vacate second to the end, so that's looking pretty good to me. $1,000 to go, let's go down to 10,000. Here we go, okay. So, fast mode's on. Are you ready for the approach briefing? I don't really see any threats for the arrival, so let's go then. 240 below 10,000, forecast page is in, fixed rings should be around runway 08 right, and we'll take a 10-mile ring and a 4-mile ring. Okay, for the arrival, we are following the Throttle 3 arrival and the ILS approach runway 08 right, and that starts in 2000, 3-degree glide. Frequencies 109.7, set active both sides, and the courses are 087. Here we go, 087 on both sides. Minimum's 295. The go around straight at 087, intercept the radial 242 inbound Diceta VOR, climbing to 3,000 feet. And we have that in the FMS as well. Okay, arriving with 6,000, 5,100 is the minimum, so we have plenty of fuel on board here for about, yeah, say 10 minutes extra. Burning 300. It's a landing weight of 141.4 now. So, flaps 30 landing, and it is a dry runway. Auto brakes 2, vacating, second exit to the right, and then taxi to the gate. Any questions? No? Beautiful. Okay, descent checklist. Pressurization, land out 100, anti-ice, off, approach brake fuel, discussed, IS and outbox, checked, and set. Okay. Descent checklist complete. So, down towards 8,000, please. Look at that, VNAV has botched a bit here. Soon I had a 250 knot restriction, but it's doing 271. Well, I suppose we are going to help it a little bit here. Speed brakes. I have no clue why it's adding thrust when I get those speed brakes out, but, well. Alright, let's go ahead and lose that speed. Now the auto throttle just popped off because it added that thrust on the right hand engine, and the difference between the two would kill your auto throttle. That's expected behavior. Okay then, let's go into an arrival heading here. 130. And you can give me level change at 250 knots. And speed brake going back in. So extend the center line, please. So Alpo, inbound course 088. Here we go. You can disregard the VNAV profile once you've extended the center line. It would no longer give you any reasonable indications. I tell you what, let's do another 10 degrees left here. And make that 125. That should be good. Alright, altimeters. Passing 10,000, descending 8,000. 10 checks. Fuel, balanced. 4 pumps on, lights. On, angle of bank 25, air condition and pressurization 4.8. Well, you should be descending, my friend. I would expect something around 4.0 when passing 10,000, so a little bit of stuff to do there. Okay, and set, standby instruments set, recall checked, and 1 to 1.5. Yeah, they say deselect in my old airline, so let's go ahead and deselect that. Alright, 10 checks completed. So, on our last ILS approach, we had a little problem with the ILS, which ended us doing a visual approach. I just want to emphasize once again on this flight that the problem on the first one was not caused by iFly, but indeed was a Navigraph bug. There was an IRAC revision from Navigraph, which killed all ILSs in the entire sim, and I didn't notice since I installed that revision. I've only flown 2 ANAF approaches in the sim, not an ILS, so that was the first approach using an ILS, and, well, therefore I didn't really know that that problem existed. But updating the IRAC cycle once again has added the ILSs back to the simulator, and as you can see down there, we are actually receiving something already. Alright, let's go ahead and continue our descent. Let's go down towards 3000, which is the platform altitude. Set, 3000 checked, level change. And we are actually receiving something over here already. So let's see. India Alpha Hotel, that is correct. Well then, let's do a frisk check. Frequencies, 109.7, 1, 2, and 3 times. So, fixed rings, runway 08 right, 10 miles and 4 miles. Idents. According to the chart, it's India Alpha Hotel. That is what we have over here as well. For some strange reason, the FMS down here displays something different. In this case, I'm going to ignore what the FMS displays, because we have already cross-checked it against the chart. So, the ILS frequency is confirmed there. So, standby instruments set, and the courses 087. Approach checklist. Altimeters and instruments, second cross-checked. Approach checked and set. Approach checklist complete. So, with the approach checklist complete, pilot monitoring is required to use the VSD. So let's activate that over there. The pilot flying can do whatever he wants. I'm going to keep the standard nav display today, just for the sake of it. Small word here on the aircraft performance. We're descending at something around 1500 feet a minute, unless there are any wind changes. And that is actually quite correct for the 737 MAX. So the flight model in these aspects seems correct to me. Right then, 19 miles out, cleared for the ILS. Approach armed. And then let's go ahead and do a little bit of manual flying. And auto throttle as well. Here we go. Beautiful looks outside. Airport is inside over there. Runway is inside as well. We're slightly below the glide slope. Probably a little bit high at the moment, but I'm not all too worried about it. Okay, Warlock capture. Runway heading 087 set. Okay, 1000 to go. Let's use a little bit of speed brake here. So that's the expanded localizer scale in action down there. Flaps 1, speed checked. Okay, speed brake retracted again, and here we go. Flaps 1, and flaps 5. Speed checked. Flaps 5. Glide slope capture, go around altitude 3000 set. I have to admit, that was a beautiful capture of the ILS. Ten knots of headwind, so we do need a tiny bit of power here to maintain our airspeed. Aircraft is trimmed out. Beautiful. Now let me just go into a different kind of view here. Something like this, because I do need a thumbnail picture for the video after all. And I think this just looks wonderful right here. Doesn't it? Okay, let's take a seat again. So, clear to land. Okay, gear down, flaps 15. And flaps 30. Speed check, flaps 30. So, landing checklist. Start switches, continues. Recall, check, speed brake, arm, green light, landing gear, down 3 green, auto brakes, 2. So flaps, 30, 30, green light, landing lights. On. Landing checklist complete. I love to hand fly the approaches in the simulator, but unfortunately doing the landing checklist with all the looking around in the flight deck just makes it a little bit hard and a little bit busy to do all that. So, flaps 30 landing, we should be looking at something around 50-52% N1 according to the books. And right now we are running, yep, just about right there. So the power requirement is quite good. In terms of the pitch, we should need roughly 0.5 degrees nose up. It's a tiny bit more over here. Checked. I guess iFly had the same problems that PMDG had. You either have the pitch right in cruise or on final approach, but you can't have both in Microsoft Flight Simulator.
100.
Alright, let's make it a good one.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Right onto the marker. So, speed brake up, thrust reverse normal, idle reverse. First exit, we'll take the second one. Manual brakes, auto brake disarm. It's a bit of a pity that the auto brake disarm light is now located down here, because that makes it a bit harder to see rather than when you had it up here as you had on the 737NG. In the real world it's not much of a problem, of course, but in the sim it makes it a bit harder. Okay, welcome to Houston. We're going to vacate right onto that taxiway over here, and then set course southbound towards our gate. And here we are. Now what's that black hole? Well, there is a taxiway there, so I am gonna ignore that. Alright, here we are. That level change activation should bring the speed down to 0. But well, hopefully with an update then. Okay, flaps retracted more than 30 seconds after landing. Recall. Looking good. Okay, so we'll turn to the right over here. I'm a little bit fast, maybe. And our gate will be just up here inside the alley. So our gate is Echo 16. Let's go ahead and select that in GSX. That is Terminal E. Gate 16. No follow me needed. Handling by United. Looking good. Okay, APU start. Now, it would really be helpful if we could see anything on the apron. Any of the lines or anything. Otherwise we'll just really have to turn into the black. But I suppose they need to turn up the airport lights a bit. Here's something. Alright, that's our gate over there. I will keep the taxi lights on because it is just too dark over here. They need to add some lights to this apron. Can't even see the center line or anything. Oh, there it is. Okay. Then lights off. So that's our docking system. Houston Gate Echo 16. Would be nice if this actually indicated something for us now. Otherwise we'll have to guess the stopping position. Suppose we have to guess it. I'll just stop over here then. Make sure we don't run into that truck. Come on, brakes. Here we go. Okay. 2 blue, 1 red. Engine stats. Cabin crew, all doors in park. That's the Airbus call, I know. Okay, so... No. You come on. You come on. Transit shutdown checklist, please. Electrical on APU, fast modes off, ProArt auto, anti-ice off, air conditioning packs on, engine bleeds on, APU bleed on, exterior lights set, start switches off, auto brake off, speed brake down to 10, flaps out no light, parking brake set, start levers cut off, weather radar off, transponder 2000 standby, CB/RCB in, cockpit door unlocked, and that's the transit shutdown checklist completed. So, welcome to Houston. Let's go ahead and get ourselves the ground power. And we can chock the aircraft as well, please. Here we go. And park and brake is released so that the brakes can cool a little bit before the next sector. Well guys, I do hope that you have enjoyed this flight with us. Let me know your feedback in the comments below, and once again, let me add my feedback here as well about this flight featuring the iFly 737 MAX. Overall, we had only very few issues, so I tend to say that the aircraft is working very well at the moment for being a pre-release version, and I'm really looking forward to the aircraft's releasing. Now, if you're watching this video after the aircraft has released, then be sure to leave your feedback on how you like it in the comments below. And as always, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.